Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a multi-character thriller by me. So let's get into it. A child, I guess. Child. Well, it's your first time coming to Snejnaya, and basically, you were underdressed. Very underdressed, because you needed more than just a jacket. No, you needed a fur coat or something because it was deathly cold. And when Child welcomed you, he noticed how you were shivering. Then he hugged you tightly, kissing your cheeks. Then he took off his jacket, putting it over you. You blushed, looking up at him, going to say that it wasn't needed. But then he just shut you up, smiling fondly. I'm used to this weather. You're not. Just come with me and we'll go to a hotel or something. You just nodded quietly, holding his hand, and the entire way you were walking, you were blushing brightly. The coat smelled of him. It was comforting, and the best and warmest thing I've ever worn. Child, meanwhile, was walking with the best smug smirk I've ever seen. It was something that was very adorable, and also very hot of him. You loved him. And right now, you loved him even more. Albedo. Albedo was actually with you the first time that you went to Dragonspine. He was worried about you, and he knew you would kind of be messy, and maybe not very well prepared, which was not a problem. He didn't guilt you for it. It was kind of nerve-wracking. You know, going to Dragonspine. A dangerous place where many of the adventurers would die. Yeah, it wasn't good. So he accompanied you, and it turned out that you were not dressed very well for the weather. So he ended up giving you his own coat. And while you tried to refuse many times, he just kissed you, smiling. You don't want to wear my stuff? He asked, and you shook your head quietly. That's not the issue. You know it's not it. I just don't want you to get cold. Well, I'm more resistant to it. I'm not a human like you. Are you sure about that? He nodded, and then took your hand, rubbing it gently as to warm it. And then he walked you to his place. He just wanted to make sure you'd be okay and safe, and he would never let you get cold on his watch. He was just gentle like that. Venti. Well, Venti and you go adventuring a lot. He just loved adventuring everywhere in Tevat, and he didn't want anything hiding from his gaze. So it ended up with you going to some place that was really, really cold, and you were not prepared for that, and neither was he. But he still had his cape, and though it wasn't much, it would keep you warm for the time being, until you could get back out. He wrapped it around you, and you just looked up at him, blushing, and he just laughed softly, telling you that you looked really good in it. Then he took your hand, kissing your palm, and when you blushed and asked him why, he said he was just wearing it. How sneaky and subtle of you, Venti. Yeah, not subtle at all. But it was still an adorable gesture, so who are you to complain? You loved it. You loved everything about him and everything he did. And it seemed like the more time you had spent with Venti, the more and deeper you would fall in love. There was no escape from him. He was like a black hole, and you were definitely beyond the horizon. You were sucked in, deep and hopeless. But it wasn't anything you didn't want. You won, and you loved him so much. He was worth every bit of love you gave him, and he always gave it back. Kazuha, he's such a gentleman. He's so polite and considerate, and he's always worrying about others' feelings, and their well-being too. As long as they were good people, then why wouldn't he try and help them out? And of course, that included you. Actually, it was even more important when it was you. You weren't only a good person, you were his love, the love of his life, and of course he was doing everything in his might to make sure you were comfortable and happy. And if that meant getting cold, and giving you his own jacket, then so be it. It was worth it, seeing that small blush on your face, and the quiet smile as you fit snugly into the jacket. To be quite honest, it was the best sight that Kaza's ever seen all day, and it was worth getting cold for, even if just for a few moments, or minutes in his case. He took a walk around until he found something to buy. He got warm after, which was good. You wouldn't want him to catch a cold. Scaramouche. Scaramouche would actually not really get cold. He wears it for aesthetics. Maybe he would get a little bit cold, but not as cold as you. And he definitely did not have the feelings for it. He wouldn't mind it. And he's been trained to the extremes, so this wouldn't be a problem to him. But he would worry about you shivering. And after a little bit, he looks at you and asks if you're really cold. And you just shake your head. But it was a really awful attempt at lying. So he just sighs, as if in frustration or something, and takes off his own coat, wrapping it around you. Just walk with me, and don't lie to me again, he says. And wasn't that just hot? He didn't know, but he knew you were blushing, and that definitely meant something. You walked around with him after, and you kept quiet because you were still processing. You also loved the smell of his coat. It was something to keep, and by keep he meant hoard, because you were not giving it back. It was going to be a blanket now, and Scaramouche could not dream of having it again. And if he ever tried to snatch it from your hand, this was going to be an argument. A light-hearted one. Don't worry. Xiao. Xiao's actually very gentle and loving, so how could you expect anything else from the man? He sees you cold, and he would teleport all the way back home, just to give you your own jacket. But he couldn't even just make you wait until you got your jacket, so he would take off his own first and give it to you. Then he would come back with another one of his jackets. And when you're looking at him, questioning why he just didn't get you a jacket, he says it's more efficient because he didn't want you getting cold for a second. But the truth is, he also liked you wearing his jacket. It looked good on you, and he liked it when you wore something that was his. But you could never admit to his feelings. He was so shy, and he blushed a little bit after. But you didn't comment on it, though you definitely noticed it. He just kissed his cheek, and then you went to the restaurant you were going to. You had taken a break from working and wanted to travel around for a bit. And it just so happened that this little situation occurred, and it was definitely something to remember. A sweet thing, too.